that is why I'm where I am, is because I believed and I knew that I was going to do the next step. And there's never been any doubt in my mind that I was not going to make it. Like I was always going to make it. And even now it's like going to the Olympics is never like, when I make it, it's never going to be like I've made the Olympics. I'm like, this was going to happen. I fully believe I will be one of the best runners in the world.
That was George Couttie today on the Running Effect podcast. George is one of the top runners in the NCAA in 2026. He recently last month ran 7:36 in the 3K, so he's an absolute stud. One of the guys who will be gunning for an NCAA indoor and outdoor title across, honestly, whatever distance he picks. This guy is dedicated to his craft, dedicated to his sport. He comes from the UK, so he's an international student. Originally ran D2, but then made his way all the way over to Virginia Tech to run D1. I love his energy. I love the belief he has in himself. Towards the end of this conversation, he talks about how important belief in yourself is to be successful. I really love that part of the episode and conversation. But today's podcast is also a conversation. We talk about World Cup soccer and all sorts of different fun subjects. So perfect for your next run. If you enjoy this one, hit us with a follow so you don't miss more conversations with the best athletes in the sport like George in 2026 this year. Also give us a 5-star review. Takes next to no time. Greatly appreciative of anyone who has done that in the past. And my last and final request for you is share the podcast with a friend. That is the easiest way in which we can grow. And I will forever be indebted to you if you blow this podcast up for me. Share it with all the people you know who you think would find value and benefit from it. With all those notes aside, enjoy this conversation with the man, the myth, the legend, George Couttie. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sat across from the man of the hour on the East Coast, George Couttie, absolute legend. George, I read something on Instagram not too long ago. It said George Couttie has just clocked a 7:36.74 over 3K indoors at the BU season opener at Boston University. That puts him 5th on the UK 3K indoor all-time list behind George Mills, Josh Kerr, Sam Atkin, and Mo Farah. When you see your name amongst those names, what goes through your mind?
Oh, it's amazing. Some of the people I've looked up to my entire life. So to be up there with them in the mix is like a absolute dream come true. And now we gotta put my name above theirs. That's the job now.
Who'd you look up to growing up? Was it Mo? Was it, Josh was probably a little
It was
too close to you.
Mo, and then also George Mills, because I'm actually from the same town as him. Like my high school coach was his high school coach. So, and I knew his brother. So I've kind of known of him. He was like one of the professional athletes I kind of watched first. So yeah, those two, Mo and George, were the two that I looked up to a lot when I was younger.
How would you say UK training school system development differs from the US? Because I hear a lot of UK people reference we're from the same town type situation. And as someone who comes from the US, as you know now, our country's so big, states are so big. It doesn't process in my mind what that's like.
Well, we don't really have a school system for running. We have our English schools, which is a national champs. So it's all right, but it's nothing like the NCAA or even the high school scene. Most running's done for club. So you join a club in your area. And that just makes it a lot of people don't really do it. So my club from my area, we have one club, and we could barely field teams to go to races. We have road relays and stuff in the UK, club road relays. My team would never field a team. I'd be the only one that would be willing to do certain things. So it's a lot harder. And a lot of my training was done on my own when I got to a certain age and to a certain level. So it's definitely a lot harder. It's just a lot smaller, the whole scene. I know most people now from being running there, running for so long, that I know everyone of my age who runs in the UK, who's been competing for the last 5, 6, 7 years. I know who they are, which is nice when you go home, but it's just completely different to the NCAA. It's the NCAA is unbelievable, the amount of people and attention and all of that. It's a completely different level.
Do you feel like you knew growing up and in whatever you would call high school back home that you would be as good as you are today, or was it a little bit of a surprise? I know you went D2 at first, so you had maybe a little bit more of an unorthodox path to get to where you are today at Virginia Tech, but was there that inner belief that you could run the times you're running now, or did it come with stride?
Well, I just didn't really care when I was younger. To be honest, like, I was good at running and I enjoyed it. Like I just do cross country for fun and stuff like that. And I obviously wanted to win, but I never really watched it. Didn't really care until I got the chance to possibly come over to the US, and I started to like kind of look into it. And then I took it seriously for 2 years, and it went like obviously I had like some huge jumps, and after that I was like I kind of knew that like I was going to be good at this, and I kind of believe that I will get to where I am, and I believe that I will get to the Olympics and win medals and stuff like that. That's the belief that I have.
What was the process? Like you go, from the UK, fly over to the US, spend a year in West Virginia, Charleston, have some success to the point where you could transfer to a D1 school. Was the process like, get me out of here? I'm sick of West Virginia. Get me to a D1 school. Was it kind of bittersweet because they allowed you to take that next jump? Like a lot of people I talk to, I feel like they come over and they're just like at one school for 4 or 5 years and then they go pro. They're grateful to come over to the US. You obviously kind of have that extra step. What was that, process even like of looking like what D1 school do I want to go to? Who's going to set me up the most for success?
Yeah, so just before I came, I had a lot of success in the UK. So I was already kind of like I was already planning on leaving in a sense of like I was just going to get over there. I'd already signed to a school, and I was like, I'll do my year. But like the plan was to leave after a year, like before I joined. I didn't know which school I wanted. Oh, I had schools that I wanted to go to, like obviously the Oregons, the NAUs, like everyone that was running well. At that time, I was much more like I focused on like cross and 5K back then. That was when I first joined, and so I looked at those schools, but I spoke to them, but they weren't too interested. I didn't run like super amazing in Division 2, and I obviously when I was younger, the two runners I did know in the NCAA are Cole and Cooper, and find out that his coach was here, and that was pretty much me sold on coming here.
What was that relationship like with Ben Thomas and like even Coop and Cole? I know a lot of times they train out of, where are you at? Blacksburg, Virginia. Yeah. Do you ever get to train with them? What was it? And if I'm sure you've seen them around, like what's that like seeing runners that you looked up to when you were considering what school to go to and now to be in the same city, same coach, etc.
It's amazing. I train with them a lot. Like over the summer, I stayed here like extra, like I stayed here throughout the summer. Didn't go home for too long, so I was training with them a lot over the summer, and again over like any breaks when like the students aren't here, like I train with those guys, and sometimes in the week I'll also train with them, and they're like such nice people. It's really cool to see how they live their life after like watching them have so much, watching obviously Cole win Olympics and world championships, and seeing what he does day to day. It's really cool, and to like see that we're on like similar kind of like training plans, and like obviously have the same coach. It just gives me so much confidence in like my ability in the future, and like I have so much confidence in Coach Thomas because I have a really good relationship with him, and yeah, just watching other people have success under the program that I'm in is great, and it just gives me confidence not only in university but when I'm finished, when I graduate, and when I go pro, I'm gonna have a good place to stay and know that I'm gonna be safe here for a couple of years.
Coming from Cole Hocker's training partner, were you surprised to see him win the 5K this past summer at the World Championships?
No. Before the race, I knew I could have called he was going to win.
Wow, what made you so certain?
Yeah, just training with him. He's his mentality, just everything. He was going to win that race, especially after the DQ in the 15. There was nothing that was going to stop him from winning.
Do you think he would have won if the 15 didn't shake out that way?
I think he would have won. I think he would have won both if he'd been in the 15.
Wow. Because I thought, I actually have a funny story. So I was running my second ever marathon. And the annoying thing with, like, this is such an American take, we think the world revolves around us. I know it doesn't, but like I was kind of pissed about like the times in Japan because it's like so hard to like keep track of like when races are and when you could watch and stuff. So I knew the 5K was happening that day, but I didn't like actually look at like the EST conversion. But I knew it was happening that day. I was running, my second marathon. I was like serious about it, but just work's my priority at this stage of my life. So I was like doing like 20-mile weeks and also wanted to like maintain some muscle mass. So it was like still lifting. So like wasn't like trained enough to the point where like I was like all in, super locked in. So in Dominic fashion, for those who know me, they'll laugh at this, but they'll get it. I'm like 2 miles in and I like pull out my phone. I go on Instagram. I'm like running 7:10 pacers, like nothing crazy. And it's just like a post from Trackstar and it's like Cole Hocker wins. And I like I was running with a buddy this marathon and I was like, no way. I like sprinted ahead. I was like, we got motivation for the rest of this run. And I like tried pulling up a clip of it like mid-marathon. I'm sure I pissed off all the hobby joggers next to me. But I was like, I will always remember where I was when I found out he won, because I knew he was in the race and I knew he had a chip on his shoulder. But, you know, this is a guy who I feel like has dabbled in like the Milrose 2 mile or like, you know, some early season 5Ks. But I thought it was like even crazy. He ran it at USA's and qualified. So I thought like, oh, he might have a chance to medal. But seeing him win and 12:58, I think a lot of people thought he'd only win if it was like a slow race. So I was like, wow, his strength while also kicking off that strength is, you know, you'd think that would be like a Grant Fisher, not a Cole Hocker.
Yeah, no, he's a super talent. And I remember like obviously didn't have the best run out in Europe in like the middle of the season. So he definitely came back and was people obviously people online were saying like when he announced he was going to do the double, people online were saying he wasn't good enough. But training with him and like being around him, like, I knew that he would be good enough to do the double and win both.
What benefit, like, do you think you get more benefit physically or mentally from training with those guys?
I'd say a bit of both. Obviously, it's so cool just like seeing the way that they like kind of live their life, and like obviously seeing how like serious they take their work and everything. And then obviously being able to just like go on. I did some of the longer training sessions with them over the summer. I was doing like 2 mile segments with Cole and just sitting right behind him and taking absolutely none of the work and just going until I physically had to be pulled out by my coach. That's obviously benefit like really nice for me because I don't have to do anything. I can just turn off and run behind the Olympic champ for a bit, and that's a pretty nice thing. So definitely both.
What do you think is the biggest, like, you know, you watch a race with like a Gabby Thomas or a Cole Hocker or I would put Noah Lyles in this category, but he's kind of a spoof and he'll probably pull out a Pokemon card at the last second and switch you up. But like the Olympic champs who are like dominant, you see them on that. Sydney McLaughlin Lavroni is another example. You see them at the start line, they just have this like look of utter locked inness. And I've even seen like training videos with Cole. He has a fun time, but like when he has to lock in, there's like that look he has. What's that experience been like, seeing how dedicated he is to his craft and serious he is about things when he needs to be?
Yeah, I think that rubs off on the team as well. Like we are quite a fun team. Like we like to obviously enjoy ourselves and like we all get along, whether that's like the girls, the guys, we all talk. And like if we're doing easy runs or whatever we end up doing, pool, anything, bikes, we're all talking, laughing. But when it gets down to like working out and when you have to make sure you get stuff done, everyone gets it done and everyone like knows when is the right time to be able to have fun and when's the right time to lock in. And it's a really, really nice thing. And obviously you see that with the professionals, but then I obviously see that day to day with the team that I'm with as well.
I feel like Ben Thomas doesn't get talked about a lot in, you know, media or just like the running world at large, because I think he's the type of guy, I don't know him personally, would love to give him on the podcast one day, but probably won't, because he's the type of guy who like likes to stay out of the limelight, likes his athletes to talk. I think he secretly loves a level of like staying mysterious. What's it like being coached by him? And yeah, just give him his flowers. Obviously on paper, he's one of the best coaches in the country, but I feel like it's the Mike Smiths, the Jerry Schumachers who get most of the praise and talked about.
Yeah, well, those guys take the big, or they like coach the big athletes, and they're all about, obviously they have their social medias and they have a bit more of a presence. Like you said, Coach Thomas very much likes to stay in the dark. He's not he doesn't do interviews really. He doesn't have social media, and he doesn't coach anyone that he hasn't coached in college really. It's another thing that he doesn't really like to coach new athletes. So he's got like I said, it's quite a small team, but I think he's the best coach in the world. Like the jumps I've made being under him, like after 1 year, I was 43rd at the Division 2 cross nationals, and the next year I was 14th, and that was like, and after a few months of being under his training, I was one of the best runners in the NCAA, and made indoor nationals, which like wouldn't have even like thought about doing that. In Division 2, like running 740, like it was unbelievable, and the jumps, like they don't stop. Like running 736, and I won a European medal under him. It's just, yeah, it's incredible the jumps that I've made. I fully believe that his training's a bit different to everyone else's, and but I just think if it works for you, it really works, and he is, in my eyes, he's the best coach in the world.
What do you attribute those jumps to? And if so, the training, what would you say is like the biggest difference between Ben's training and like the training you were doing before?
Ben's training's different. It's just a lot of intensity. We don't really get easy days. Easy days don't really like exist in our program. Like we're doing something's going to be above easy every day, and unless it's like, and on a Saturday is our like easiest day. But even then, it's just like the length that we're training for is just so long that it doesn't really become easy anymore. So I attribute to like, first of all, I attribute to like just consistency that I've been running for so many years without like problems, without injuries. I had my first injury last year, proper injury. So I think that's a big thing that obviously a lot of people say that consistency is key, and it is. It's cliche, but like if you can stack years upon years of running, then you're going to be better than someone that consistently gets injured. And then just the fact that I can handle the intensity, and it works well for me. Like everything works well for different people. Like people have double threshold and stuff like that, and people like mileage. I'm not really a mileage person. I'm more of a, like, I'll do quality, less work but more quality. And I feel like that's what Coach Thomas does. Like everything we do has a purpose, like a specific purpose that he is like a reason why we're doing it. And I think that's what he makes the most out of the little stuff that we get given, if you know what I mean.
In terms of recovery, what does that process look like? I imagine if like, are you sore all the time? Are you tired all the time? If so, how do you recover between sessions? Because like for me, obviously I never trained at a D1 level, so I can't even speak to like what other schools are doing. But I imagine that like, the work is hard enough if you're not having like strict, like just full on easy day or recovery day, that you need to be really intentional between sessions to recover.
Yeah, so recovery is a massive part. It's a thing that when I joined was like very much specified with me. Is like, he said, I'm going to train you like a pro. It's your job outside of training to act like a pro and recover like a pro. That's on you, and that's a thing that we as a team do very well. Like that's not like, you can show up to practice, but it's whether you're gonna stretch, whether you're gonna go see the trainers, go to the sauna. Like those are things that you have to do off your own back, and obviously they're not the glamorous things that everyone enjoys doing, and they take time out of your weekends and your days where you can't be doing like other things. So arguably sometimes it's harder than training to go recover, which some people maybe don't understand, but it takes a lot of time. So yeah, it's important though when you're training at a high level. So yeah, we make sure I sauna, and I try to ice bath. I'm not very good at it. I don't like the ice bath at all, but saunas, ice bath sometimes, and then I get massages like once a week, and then I also go see the trainers for rehab on whatever niggles I have within the week. I'm always usually working on something, because there's always something that you can be like, something's not necessarily in pain, but there's always something that maybe will be bothering you. You got like a sore knee or like something like that, like sore foot, maybe your calf's tight. There's always something you can work on. So I will be in the trainers pretty much every day, speaking to our trainers and working with them, and they're great and super helpful. So again, wouldn't be like at the level without our like facilities and like staff that we have around us.
For you, do you feel like you were this dedicated at the level before D2, or do you feel like you came to Virginia Tech, it was like you need to be dedicated at this level and you kind of met that expectation?
I think before D2, like getting into D2 like the year before, I kind of realized that this is what I wanted, and was like, I want to be a professional. So ever since then, I've been super locked in around like what I'll do. Obviously, coming to Virginia Tech, I've been more focused on like recovering, because before that, I was never doing the mileage to really need to recover. And also, I'd never really been introduced to recovering like in that kind of way. Usually recovering for me is just like, don't do too much like sports outside of your running. So I would spend a lot, like most of my time, like when I was in Division 2, would just be spent like maybe relaxing and stuff like that, but not actively recovering. So yeah, Virginia Tech definitely been introduced to more of the like actively recovering and choosing to go and do something for my benefit. But in the sense of like not doing certain things, I've been pretty locked in for a few years now.
What's the gym routine look like? Are you lifting during the week? How do those integrate with workouts? A lot of programs, lift like the 2 days that they do workouts after the workouts. But if you're not going, if you're going somewhat hard every day, I imagine that can shift up things. What does that process look like for you in the gym?
So we'll lift twice a week. We'll lift before workout days, the day before. So I think I'll be lifting this afternoon. Lifts are we have our like a weight sheet, so it starts off with like med ball exercises, and then you'll split up an Olympic lift with maybe a med ball exercise or like a box jump or something like that, and you'll alternate, and then it'll give you like 3 different things. Then you have the same like cool down where we'll do like pull-ups, abs, and then punching bag for 20 seconds, and that's our typical lift that we'll do twice a week.
Do you guys, Virginia Tech, I'd say a year ago, shitty football program, but big hire around the corner.
Yeah.
I'm curious for you guys, like a facility breakdown. Do you guys have your own gym? Does football have their own gym? Does basketball have their own gym? Like, how does that all integrate?
Oh, we have our own gym. I think we've got some of the best facilities in the world. We're like so lucky. Like we obviously have our indoor track, which is like you walk down the hill and there's our outdoor track. You walk 5 minutes to the right and you've got a cross country course. And then if you go up the hill 3 minutes, you have a 1K loop around a soccer pitch. So like we just have everything right there, which is like it's perfect. And then in our indoor track, we have a kind of bigger weight room down the end, which the throwers and sprinters use the most. And then we kind of have a weight room at the top, but we can use their weight room if they're not using it. And there's always space everywhere. So yeah, we have like our own space. We never integrate where like football or basketball or anyone else.
I don't know if you follow football. You come over to the States, we're calling a completely different sport, football, than you guys would. But if you do follow football, how do you feel about getting debatably the hottest coach on the market?
Everyone said it's really cool. I'm not a football guy. I go to some of the games and I try to enjoy it, but I do find it incredibly boring. I'd much prefer to watch soccer. I did take part in our like fantasy league this year, the school, like our team's fantasy league, and I didn't lose, so that's all that matters. So I'm trying to understand it a bit more, but definitely struggling. But yeah, we saw him in the dining hall and everyone was taking pictures with him, so I was like, he must be a big deal.
For you, football as you would define it, what are you into? Like Premier League? What's your
Yeah, I'm a Leeds United fan. I don't know if many of the US. We have a US player actually, Brendan Harrison. So we used to have a US manager as well. But yeah, I don't know if too many of the Americans watching this will know who they are. If you follow soccer, you might do. They're quite a small team. We just got promoted back into the Premier League.
I know I have one friend who religiously listens to the podcast, Ethan, great runner, and he is like a diehard football fan. So he'll know this. So I know we have at least one listener who will understand this. He's got a twin brother, and I think he flew to Europe and watched one of the Premier League games this past summer or something. So they're pretty into it. I think my brother's a Man United fan. Is that Premier League or is that something different?
Yeah, they're not a good team. They're like our arch rivals.
Okay.
Man United.
Was Beckham on Man United or no?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, I think he watched the Beckham series on Netflix, and then I think became a bandwagon fan or something. Yeah.
Will he be going to watch the World Cup?
Honestly, I doubt it. I feel like World Cup tickets probably sold out like as soon as
No,
they
they
were
saw that
announced.
instantly. Yeah. One of our coach, our jumps coach, got tickets for him and his kids. So I'm very
Wow.
jealous. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting how they're doing it because it's like spread. It's very very spread out, and the
Yeah.
locations don't even make a ton of sense. Like,
Yeah.
so I live in Columbus. My brother also lives in Columbus, which is pretty cool. He's my oldest brother, and I don't. I think the closest one would be like Kansas City, which is like 7 hours away. So
Yeah.
I don't think they have one in Chicago. That didn't make sense. I feel like Chicago would have been a good Midwest point.
Yeah. I have no idea where the nearest one to us would be. I thought it was gonna be in Charlotte, but I don't think there's one in Charlotte anymore. So
Let me see World Cup locations.
trying to think.
West is LA, San Francisco, Seattle. Central is Dallas, Houston, Kansas City, Atlanta. East is Boston, Miami. I don't know ever if Miami's been considered East. That's about as south as you can go. New York, New Jersey, and Philadelphia. And then Canada, Toronto, Vancouver. Mexico is 3 names I can't pronounce. Mexico City I can pronounce. Monterrey, I guess I can pronounce. The finals, MetLife Stadium. Opening game, Mexico City, LA. Yeah, I'm shocked they don't have a Midwest. There's no Midwest. Chicago makes no sense. I don't know why you wouldn't have it in Chicago. So
Yeah.
I'll get in the World Cup, but the US kind of sucks. I feel like we perpetually suck at soccer. So it's
You got a decent team this year. You have.
Do we?
Yeah. Well, you got.
Pulisic? Do we have Pulisic?
Yeah, you have Pulisic. You've also got Brendan Aronson, the guy that plays for my team. He's unbelievable. I love him. I think he's great. You have Weston McKennie. You have Tyler Adams. You got an all right team. You could possibly make it out of your group.
Okay. What does that put us in? Like,
you also have the
16?
easiest group, surprisingly.
Oh, totally. No calls were made.
Yeah, that's what my coach Thomas actually surprised. He loves soccer.
Really?
That's his favorite thing. Yeah, he watches it all the time. So yeah, I spent a lot of time speaking to him about that.
Is Messi still playing?
He is, yeah.
Is
Messi's
this
still
like
playing.
the final go
same
out?
with Ronaldo. Yeah, it should be his. Well, he said last time would be his last World Cup when he won. So yeah, I'll be jealous of anyone that gets to see Messi play in this World Cup because that'll be unbelievable.
What happened to Neymar? I feel like when I was like a kid, he was like elite and like low key in the combo for like Ronaldo, Messi, and then I feel like he fell off. Is he still playing or no?
Yeah, I think he might be somewhere. I don't know where. Maybe I think he might be playing in Brazil for a Brazilian team. But he's just a bit older now. Like it's same with Messi and Ronaldo. Like Messi plays for Miami.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think.
Yep.
And then Ronaldo plays for Al Nassr. So they've all kind of done their own thing. And I think Neymar either is retired or plays in Brazil.
Gotcha. So in Columbus, we have Columbus Crew, an MLS team, and they built a stadium. I think we have one of like the newer MLS stadiums.
Yeah.
Columbus downtown isn't that big, so I went for the first ever MLS game end of May, and it was actually really cool because Columbus is like we're the 15th biggest city in America, but most people don't know that, and you wouldn't really feel it because most of the population is like in the suburbs. So like downtown isn't crazy developed or crazy big. Yeah. But you go to the game and there were some cult fans. I was like, whoa, wow, this is crazy. It was honestly a ton of fun. And it was one of those classic occasions where it was like super boring game. It was like 0-1. And then like 3 goals were scored in the last 10 minutes. But I left because I was just like, I want to beat traffic home. And I heard walking back to my car, just like the celebration. So I think it ended up in a tie because I think MLS rule. I don't get this in sports. Both NFL and soccer. I don't know why we allow ties. Not a fan of a tie. It's a professional sport.
In soccer it kind of works because obviously you get. I don't know how. I have no idea how the NFL's like scored.
There should be a winner and a loser though.
Yeah, in soccer they have points, so it's like the winner and loser doesn't really matter in season because the winner is decided on like a table. If you get what I mean. By the end of the season,
I've seen this.
If you have more points in that team, you beat them regardless of if they beat you in season, whether you drew or not. But when you go to like the Champions League, which is there is like one winner. They have like knockout stages, and then every game has to be a win or lose situation.
Interesting. What's the name of the kid? Oh gosh, like 16-year-old.
Lamine Yamal.
Yeah, is he staying out of trouble?
He just turned 18, and no, he's all over the place.
Is he still as good as he was like a year or two ago?
He's still unbelievable, but he keeps trying to fight people, which isn't the best. And then he had a questionable 18th birthday party.
Okay, maybe that's what I saw.
Yeah, there was some questionable decisions made about his birthday party and what he wanted. So yeah, he's enjoying the fame. Let's just say that.
And then Mbappe, is he still good?
Yeah, he's still good, playing for Real Madrid now. So
okay,
he's in Spain.
Because I know the names, like I know that I follow the names, but I don't know like outside of the World Cup. I feel like I don't follow as much in the States. I feel like there's just so many sports 24/7.
Yeah,
dude, our country is so messed up. We're just like hyper obsessed with it's like we love watching other. In the U.S., it's like, how much of our lives can we be distracted by sports and culture and movies and TV and music that we just like get to 80 and we look back and we're like, oh, my TV was on all the time. I don't know if you know those people who their TV's on like first game to last game. And it's like, I don't know if it's healthy to watch 4 games in a row.
I can't do that. I'm really not into watching sports. It's like I don't really watch much, to be honest. I prefer to do stuff. I really miss playing. Like I really miss the time when I was able to just kind of do what I wanted, because obviously playing soccer, like I do that all the time and go to all sorts. And but I watch some stuff. I watch less now. I'm in the US. Like I watch less soccer because obviously the time's just hard. Like it's in the middle of the day. I'm usually in class or I've got stuff to do. So I watch a lot less soccer. I usually just watch highlights and look at the table. And then F1, I quite like watching F1, so sometimes I'll watch that. But again, I haven't watched it in a while. I think I know most of the drivers and all. I feel like I know all the drivers, but they keep changing a little bit.
Other sport coming up is the Winter Olympics. Are you pro cross making it in the Winter Olympics?
Yeah, I was actually speaking about this with our head coach at World Cross about apparently they're making a big push for 2032. I would love to see cross country at the Olympics. I think it'd be amazing, and I would love to see the top runners do it. And no one.
I think they would if it was Olympic. I mean,
that's
Olympic
what I'm
medal
hoping.
Will change your contract.
I would absolutely love to see like the likes of Jakob and Almgren and people like that coming to cross and seeing, and even like people like Josh and Cole running the short course. I think that would be so cool to see, and I'd really, really like that to happen. So hopefully it does come to 2032 and all the top dogs do it.
You listen to name. I've had Andreas Almgren on the podcast twice in the past year, but I had him the first time I had him on. He was like, no one really knew who he was. That guy. But I mean, if we give out awards, he'd be like comeback player of the year. That guy has gotten so freaking good, like so good, so fast.
He's unbelievable. I saw his workout. It's like 10 by a K off a minute, and I was like, "What is that?" Yeah. And then he obviously went and destroyed Valencia. So yeah,
he's crazy, man.
Nuts. Yeah.
The cool thing about doing not world cross, like Olympic cross would be, I love Olympic track, but like it's such a long. So many days, so many different events, so many different winners. And I think it would kind of be cool just to like have like one, obviously we'd probably have a few different events, but like for like the main thing, 10K or whatever, it ends up being like just having like a top 3 and that's it. And very like top to bottom just makes sense. Well, and I'd be curious to see the 15 guys who try to make a push to make their team. And then the like half guys who try to, like, I'd be curious, like, what characters emerge, because I think more people would get interested. And I also think I don't know if we'll ever get, like, a pro, like, cross league, not league, but, like, kind of like how we have, like, a Diamond League circuit type situation. Yeah. I don't think we'd ever get that, but I do think that we'd see a lot more events pop up in cross if it became an Olympic sport, and I think that could be really cool. And the athletes I've talked to even this year about World Cross, I think they kind of like not being in track 24/7, like indoor, outdoor, late season. So I actually think it could even be healthy for the athletes to like kind of have the dual sport to focus on.
I'd love to see they obviously do the relay at like World Cross. I'd love to see just like an individual 2K just straight.
Yeah, me too.
And just see the winner of that. That would be. I'd love to race it. I think that'd be so cool. That was one of the most fun I've ever had at a meet. was doing that 2K. That was really. It was also one of the hardest things I've ever done. That was really hard. And then to see that Jacob Kaplumo nearly ran the same time that I did for my 2K, and the last 2K of his 10K made me cry.
Wow. That's
I
crazy.
don't know how close. I think he was like maybe just over 10 seconds away. So it's quite a big chunk. But when you think that he's just run 8K and then he's just closed and done that, I was like, wow, that is unbelievable. And watching him run was just incredible. Like,
he's an animal. He's like a gazelle.
Yeah, it was. And then watching Ngedic in the women's race just walk away from everyone. It was insane.
This might be a super hot take, but I think if we popularized cross country in the world, specifically the Olympic stage, I could see those numbers doing better than track and field events in the Summer Olympics. I think the lore of the obstacles, like snow on the course, is really exciting to someone who just turns on their TV versus like a traditional track event.
Yeah. Also, just definitely get all the marathon heads involved. Like, people, obviously, marathoners don't really want to, like, they don't really like watching the 15. I feel like marathon's such a big event that, like, it's a really good middle ground to have everyone, and it's just so different. It's also like any hobby joggers would enjoy watching it because it's completely different. And that's why I think I know a lot of the runners and people were like 50-50 about the obstacles, obviously, because when you're a professional athlete, like, really, you don't want to be jumping over crocodiles when you're racing people. But from a spectator perspective, it's great, like having the water and the obstacles. And I thought the obstacles were fun when I was running them, but I can see why some of the top athletes are a bit like, oh, I'm trying to race. I'm not here to jump over crocodiles. But
speaking of cross, I feel like you're one of the rare guys. I mean, I think we were talking about this before we recorded, but we were talking about Ethan Strand. I was really impressed by a 15 guy, running so well in cross his junior and senior year. And then obviously I know that you said you have a background kind of cross 5K, but it seems more as of late, you're really good at the 15, the 3K. So to mix it up in the 10K, so I want to say this year you were 10th, last year you were 14, something around those ranges. How cool is that to you to be good at both sports?
It's great, but I feel like it's a mentality thing more than anything. Like, I know so many 15 runners are like, oh, I'm not a 10K guy, so I don't want to, like, I'm going to be bad at cross. Like, I don't care what race I'm put in, I'm going to try and win. I could be put against, like, I'll be running I can be put in an 800, and then the next week you'll put me in a 10K, and I don't care. The only thing I want to do is win both those races, and I feel like that people make excuses before the races even started, and I feel like it's just a bad way to go about it. Just go in, race, and try and win, and like, that's the best way to do it. And that's what I think makes me good at, like, a range of different events. I feel like I can run pretty much anything from the 800 to the 10K and be competitive in it. And I feel like that's mostly because I have the mentality of, it doesn't matter what I'm running, I'm going to win.
Also talking about Ethan, obviously last year he kind of pioneered the 10K strength to running a fast 3K time. He ran the NCAA record, which I think still stands to this day. Were you surprised by 7:36 this early in the season off of just cross training?
No, I was not. One of my teammates were, and I think my coach was a little surprised, but I wasn't. I wanted to run faster, and I was hoping the race would go a bit faster. The first mile was like 4:07, so I was hoping for a bit faster than that, and I think we could have gone faster, but I was happy at the time. The only thing I really needed was, I wanted race experience, which was nice, and obviously wasn't too happy because I did lose to Colin, who's an unbelievable athlete, but I want to win. That's the only best outcome in any race is winning, and there's no other answer for that. But I did my job. Like, all I needed was a qualifier, so I had my qualifier, and then the real race is in a few months.
Yeah, how are you feeling going into this indoor season? Where's your mind at?
I'm just super confident and excited. I feel like I could. Obviously, I'm like, my goal is to win and win whatever I end up running. I want to win. So, and I believe that I can. I really do. I think I'm one of the best 3K, if not the best 3K runner in the country right now. And I feel like I have the tools to win the race, whether that's 3K, mile, DMR, whatever I do. That's the plan. So I'm confident. I'm also just excited. I I love racing. I live for racing. That's like trainings. Obviously, I enjoy training sometimes, and sometimes I absolutely hate it and don't want to do it. But I do it because like the weekend where I'm racing is the weekend where I'm having the most fun. I live for that.
I've talked extensively on this podcast with a variety of guests sort of about some of the hot topics in the NCAA in regards to like transfers. I would love to get your opinion not transfers, although that could be a subject at hand, but internationals, which obviously you are one. So I'm curious, like your opinion on kind of the landscape of the NCAA. I think it can be pretty heated dialogue across the aisle, and that being one of the topics, age being another, a bunch of different things. And we were talking about football earlier. Like if you think our sport is hot around these subjects, get into football, man. NCAA is an absolute mess. So yeah, someone who does come from another country, isn't international. Like, what are your thoughts on the whole process? Do you think the NCAA has too many? Do you think we should limit it? Are you pro it? What's kind of your thought as someone who is one?
It's a difficult one. Obviously, I feel like the NCAA, compared to what it used to be a few years ago, just isn't what it is now. Like it was made to be an amateur league. It's not. And like if you win an NCAA title, you'll most likely go into the World Championships, Olympic Games. Like that's kind of the level that you're on. You have to be world class to be at the top level of NCAA. And when it comes to internationals, I'm pro kind of anything. I'm an international, so I would be like, I can't really say like, oh, I want to like get rid of internationals because I am one. But I also wouldn't be against like maybe like we've had this conversation on our team. Like if schools had a cap of like you can only have so like many percentage of internationals and the rest have to be like American citizens, I'd understand that. And also I think there should be an age cap because when you come in, you're 18, you shouldn't be racing 29-year-olds. Like I'm a junior. I'm a junior, so I'm like in the upper age group now. I'm like technically one of the older in the NCAA. I was the youngest in the top 10 at cross nationals, and I think that's just a bit crazy.
Wow, that's a crazy stat, a crazy fact.
Obviously, Rocky is like he's barely older than I am. So, but just in the sense of like I'm a junior, he's also a junior, and we are the youngest in the top 10 at cross nationals. I think is just a bit insane that we only have one more year left, or I only have one more year left. So, and next year, you never know. I could even be the youngest then.
Yeah,
I think maybe Brian might be younger than me, myself. But I was like one of the only under 21-year-olds in the
that's crazy.
Top 10. I think there definitely should be an age cap. I think that would benefit the NCAA massively. But obviously, the rules are the rules, and you got to play to the rules now. So no one's breaking any rules by having older people, and it's not like against anything. I just think that it would make the NCAA a bit more of what it's meant to be.
Well, George, we're certainly in for an interesting next 3-5 years. I think a lot of shifts are going to happen. So, and I think we're kind of at the forefront of like seeing those discussions start to take place, which is why I think there's so many opinions thrown around across the aisle. And it's like, it's tough, man. My take is like coaches are incentivized to win championships. Their salary is dependent on it. Their extensions are dependent on it. Their legacy a lot of times is dependent on it. So they're going to make decisions that align best with those incentives, which is to win championships. And if you can go get 5 Kenyans who can help you win a championship, why wouldn't you do that? I personally wouldn't in my heart and character, but I don't think it's wrong of a coach to do it. I just think that we need to shift the NCAA from like all about winning to what it originally was intended for, which is like athletes are going to school and these are like essentially club sports. You happen to participate for the school and you want to do it to the best of your ability. But I mean, let's be real. Most people, that probably it's like we go to class, but we're runners and we want to run at the next level. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just think, as you've said, it's essentially a different sports league. Like to the soccer comments or football comments, it's like in soccer, there are multiple different like sort of there's the MLS and there's the Premier League. It's like it's basically what the NCAA is to
Yeah.
professional running. There's not much of a difference. You look across the Olympic Games, the amount of medals won from NCAA champions, and it's a crazy number. You look at in the U.S. NCAA athletes who make teams, and it's like it's pretty comparable to professional athletes. So at the end of the day, I don't know if like American baseball, but there's like AAA, AA, like MLB, and it's like I think the NCAA to pro running should be like what AA is to MLB, but we've made like AA into MLB, at least in our sport. So
Yeah, it's completely insane, and I have no idea how you come back from like what it is now. The money in it is outrageous. That the money especially these SEC schools have, just unbelievable, which is obviously completely fair enough. That's just kind of what it's come to nowadays, and you can make more money being in the NCAA than you can be pro sometimes, and yeah, it's an interesting sport. But again, I like it because I'm lucky enough where, and I'm one of the top, and I get to race the top, and that is amazing. And I think that's another reason why it just gets better every year, because the standard just keeps getting better and better, which requires the athletes to just be better and better. So it's just going to keep climbing, I think, and I like that for me personally. But then I can also understand if you're a high school kid and you're wanting to go to like one of your dream schools, it's pretty much impossible now unless
that's my biggest point. Yeah.
Phenom.
Yeah, we've ruined American high school running because these kids now, they're either going to be forced to train at a level that's probably unreasonable for their long-term health. They're going to peak early in their career, or they're just going to have to. I think we're going to see D2 and D3 schools get a lot better because I think that's going to start to fill up with a lot of American talent. And I talked to Josh Crow on the podcast not too long ago, and one of my biggest takeaways from that conversation was he was like, I wouldn't be able to run for any D1 school now. And it's crazy. A kid like Josh, we might not ever have. Some kids need the motivation of running at the next level. They get in with a really good coach, good teammates, and then they start being dedicated at a different level. And it's like, yeah, I'm not convinced that's going to happen necessarily at a D2, D3 level. And so it's like the death of the 4:15 American miler who 10 years ago could either walk on to a D1 school that's really good or get a spot at a good D1 school. And also just like from a financial standpoint, I didn't go to college and run in college, but like if you asked sophomore Dominic, I would have loved to run in college. I trained with that mindset of wanting to, and my parents were very clear. They're like, we can't afford to pay for your school. So for me, I always viewed running as a potential way to pay for school. So it's more than just even the athletics, but also like American kids a lot of times pay for their education with their legs, and we're giving these dollars to some 25-year-old who thinks he's 21 because he doesn't have a birth certificate. And it's like, I don't really think that's fair. Cancel me for saying that, but it's an America. The NCAA is in Indianapolis, Indiana, not Kiplagat, Kenya.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a really sticky situation, and yeah, I obviously feel really bad for like the high schoolers trying to go to their dream schools. It's difficult. Like even now, if I was trying to come into the NCAA, I only came into the NCAA 3 years ago, and if I was trying to come in now, I wouldn't make it. Like I wouldn't get in with because I needed a full to be able to come over here. I don't have the money to pay for like obviously flights. Like, it's so expensive, and then out of state tuition is just outrageous. So, and if I wanted to do that now, no school would pick me up because I was never like I was good. I made my national team, but I was not running 13:30, and I wasn't running like I wasn't going to score at any conference or anything like that. So I wouldn't have a chance of being in the NCAA. And again, like you said, people like Josh again wouldn't have got in, and they're some of the top athletes in the world. It's a whole different ball game now, and it's just getting harder and harder. It's interesting to see, and I don't really know how to feel about it because I obviously benefit from it, so I have a bit of a biased view, but I completely see the state of like high school running. If you have to run sub 4, or you're probably not going to be on a big D1 team as an American high schooler.
Which 10 years ago, if you broke sub 4, you were on the front page of every running website. It's like the second coming. So I do really like the idea your teammates had about the percentage of roster. I think that's like a fair conclusion. So I'm curious if people act on things like that. But anyways, man, in regards to the next generation, what final question for you? What's a piece of advice for those listening who one day want to do some of the things you've done in the sport?
You just got to believe in yourself. That's like the hardest thing, but it's the best thing for you. If you believe that you're going to do something, you probably will. And that's something I've learned. I have a lot of my friends and all the people I know just didn't really believe that I would ever be where I am now, but I did, and that's all that matters. And I'm very lucky that my family did. I have very supportive mum and dad, and that is why I'm where I am. Is because I believed and I knew that I was going to do the next step. And there's never been any doubt in my mind that I was not going to make it. Like I was always going to make it. And even now it's like going to the Olympics is never like when I make it, it's never going to be like I've made the Olympics. I'm like, this was going to happen. And I fully believe I will be one of the best runners in the world.
I love it.
Like if you want to be that, then you have to believe that.
Gotta have that delusional confidence. I love the quote, you're 1 year of hard work away from saying, or you're 1 year of hard work away from your haters saying you got lucky.
Yeah.
I really like
also,
that quote.
I like my favorite quote, the one I completely live by is how big would you dream if you knew you could never fail? I think that's really good.
Super good, man. I love it. Well, final question for you. Going back to your home country, because I think he's from there. Question I ask every guest on every single podcast. If you had Gordon Ramsay coming over to your house for dinner, what would you choose to make for him?
Oh, I would choose to make Cajun steak pasta with long stem broccoli.
Sounds delicious. Yeah, is this a recipe you've seen online you've never made, or is this something you can actually chef up?
No, I can actually. I have a picture on my phone. If you would like to see,
I trust you.
I can. I'm not. And my housemates will attest. I'm not the best cook, but I can cook a good steak. Could cook a really good steak, and then I feel like pasta is pretty easy, and to make a sauce isn't too bad. It's a pretty simple dish. It just sounds fancy.
All that matters is that you have the staples that you can execute. The rest is good.
Yeah.
Well, George, thanks for taking the time to chat, man. Really appreciate it. Fun. Well, we covered a lot of things, man. World Cup, running, international stuff. So I'll have to get you back on in the future. Appreciate it. Keep crushing it.
I'd love to. Yeah. This has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on.